And going to the crux of today's discussion, we'll be talking about the inimical activities of Ekpo cultural displays in Calabar metropolis and other adjoining towns during the Yuletide season, as it has become a cause of concern as Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, in Cross River State are calling on the State Commissioner of Police to enforce the ban on certain cultural displays. You would recall that the Cross River State Police Command had in a press release said the display and use of agaba and unabo are strictly forbidden to avoid disruption of public order. However, as Christmas festivities and the annual Calabar Carnival heats up, many cultural dances and other displays by troops and youth have heightened, and such displays, especially by Ekpo Masquerade groups, have tended to harass females and attack onlookers and visiting tourists. In a communique signed by member Basi Anyekan, as well as Ene Asukwo and Julian Obasi, and issued at the end of the Union's Congress, the NUJ called on the State Commissioner of Police to enforce the ban on certain cultural displays. We'll expand the conversation on culture and tourism, as we have in the studio with us a culture and tourism expert in the person of Ugbong Ekpe, who is in the studio with us. Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for joining us, Mr.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, sir, this conversation is aimed at balancing the cultural activities amid the concerns of people. Now, we know these traditions date back, far back, but how do you balance this up with these concerns? Because a lot of people are feeling these things are outdated. So how do you balance this up and ensure continuity or sustainability of this culture?
Whoa, that's a long one. But first of all, I think it's good to appreciate what the meaning of culture.
Okay.
What's culture? Culture is a way of life of a people. Values, art forms, belief systems, and all of that. So a people without a culture is as good as they don't exist, all right? So when we talk about culture, we see culture as something that has transformed from our forebears to our generation. So, but my concern, or which you're also your concern, is the fact that should we abolish some of these cultures? Yes and no.
Okay.
The ones that are not giving us that cultural essence, that value, should be done away with. The one that makes us, that reminds us of where we come from, should be maintained. You know, but in line with the conversation at the moment, I think it's important for us to look at these cultural displays. What do we want to ban? What do we want to stop? Is it the
harassment?
The harassment. Now, if you look at harassment, you see, the guys who wear the masquerades are not ghosts, regardless of the name, Ekpo.
Okay.
Ekpo meaning ghost. They are not ghosts. They live with us. They lived around us. Could have had friends who may have had an issue with a particular lady, and because you're in a masquerade, the lady does not see your face. You know, so you could use that to scare. You could use that to do a lot. You know, which is what I think most of them are doing. Some are also doing it in form of extortion. You know, in an attempt to play, you're beginning to think how you can make money from that, from that aspect, and that becomes an harassment, you know, in some sort. So I will agree to an extent to ban certain display, but I would prefer that before cultural displays of this mark, especially in this Yuletide, I think groups should register with the Nigerian police force to ensure that there's peace, to ensure that there's no harassment, to ensure that that particular group that has been registered will not go beyond the limits of what they're supposed to do. That will ensure some kind of sanity, regardless of what the masquerades were. In the good old days, these masquerades were police. They were security officers, you know.
Okay.
So if you want to stop them, you are also stopping the thing that brought law and order in the good old days.
But are they bringing law and order now? Because
no, they aren't. They aren't. That's what I'm saying. They aren't, because of some infiltration that has gone in. those who were meant to be the initiates, because for you to be initiated in the Ekpo Masquerade or Ekpo Masquerade, you must undergo some rituals, and those rituals will not allow you to do certain things. But right now, a young guy wakes up in the morning and doesn't have anything to do, just carry some raffia works and wear in his body and say, look, I need to go and make money.
Okay, meaning what you're saying is they are actually laid down principles for this Ekpo to operate.
Correct.
Now, if they deviate from it, with what you just said, shouldn't there be penalties besides the police, like the culture, the traditional people, the custodians? Shouldn't they penalize these people?
There should be penalties. That's where those who uphold the cultures of our people, our traditional fathers, will come in.
Okay.
I'm of the school of thought that no masquerade should leave a particular community without the local chiefs to be aware of. A few nights ago, along, somewhere around the Nsurubium here, cultural displays were ongoing, and I was driving past, and they stopped me. Okay. And in an attempt to extort money from me, he tried to hit my car. And when I came down, I said, look, you're going beyond the limits of what you're supposed to do. They realized that I understand, the principles of what they are doing, and I mean, they couldn't do it anymore. But what if it's someone who didn't even understand his right from left? Okay. It would have been injured or something else. So I'm of the school of thought that before these masquerades are out, they should either register with the police or go to the local communities, make sure that the local chiefs, the village head, are involved and are aware that they are going to go out to perform. Okay. Festivities periods, I think we will have them. Ceremonial periods, you're going to have them, but let them go through some level of accreditation. Okay. It wouldn't have been so, but because of the infiltration of those who are not initiates, a proper Ekpo initiate or Ekpo Masquerade initiate will not behave the way these guys are behaving nowadays.
You said there are certain rituals that comes with it.
Yes.
Is that not the mystical aspect of it that maybe the governor is trying to ban when it comes
it is what you call mystical. It is what you call mystical. Okay. Because well, I don't know what mystical is, because for me, mystical is anything that is not seen. Okay. It's mystical. Okay. All right? Anything that is not seen for me is mystical. You would have talked about belief system. Okay. There's a particular belief system which I'm sure is what His Excellency is talking about, in which you want to see, which he terms to be diabolic. All right? Those ones, most of those things are done behind doors. They are not done in the open. Okay. So you wouldn't even know what those things are. I am not an initiate of them, but I'm talking as a professional who have studied this masquerade, studied the culture, and understand how they operate.
Okay. Now, in your expert opinion, you talked about studying and understanding the culture. You said you were able to maneuver your way through those who were trying to harass you because you knew the intricacies of this whole thing. Correct. Now, should there be public enlightenment? And will there be room? For instance, you're about to get harassed by an Ekpo Masquerade and you have been enlightened on how they are supposed to operate. Do you even have that room to tell them you're not supposed to be doing this?
Yes, you can do that. If you see, in the group of 20 people playing this masquerade, there will be one who understands. Okay. Who understands the intricacies of what they are doing. Okay. You can call one of them in the course of them. You can call. By the time you begin to speak on top of them and let them, you speak their language, they will understand that this
meaning the visitors might be unlucky in that way.
Oh yes, if they are unlucky, at that point you are helpless. at that point you are helpless. All you need to do is just to give money and pass and buy your way out of it. Okay. But it is not to say that is an extortion. It is not a must. Okay. Because when you wait in your car if you're in a car, you wait in your car for a while and you don't give the money, they will pass. But when you tend to, my friend will say buga, that's when they will deal with you. Okay. But sincerely speaking, some of these practices, I think we should begin to do away with it because it's not helping. This state, Akwa Ibom State, as far as I'm concerned, is a tourist state. People, if I tell you the number of persons that has come into this town right from December 1st till even this morning, it is humongous. So that they don't get scared that some other time I was harassed by a Ekpo Masquerade, I don't want to come back. Yeah. So we need to tell our young people, it would have been fair, it would have been nice on my part to say that those who should wear this masquerade must be initiates of this masquerade. Okay. Because in that way, they are going to behave in the manner in which the rituals of the masquerade would ask them to behave.
Okay. So you said you've understudied this Ekpo Masquerade. What I want to understand is, why do they go around with machetes, arrows, and sticks.
Good. Now, from the oral tradition of the Ekpo Masquerade, Ekpo Masquerade is meant to be a link communicating the past and the present, communicating with the ancestors, communicating with the spirits. Now, when you see the mask of Ekpo, the mask itself is an insignia of certain things. The ugliness means that if you fail to live by the rules of this masquerade, your face is going to be ugly. It is a belief system.
Okay.
It is a belief system.
Okay.
All right. Now, when you err in the course of your living in the community and you err, the Igbo is going to slap you. Your mouth will bend. That's why you see the mouth the way it is.
It is.
Okay.
Now, the dark nature of the Igbo is to tell you that once you do anything wrong, you are committed to the evil forest. That's the coloration of the Ekpo Masquerade. So the arrows there is to scare you from misbehaving.
Okay.
The machete is to scare you from misbehaving. It is not to scare you, or it's not to kill, it's not to cut you, but to scare you. In those days, the Ekpo Masquerade used to be a form of government. All right? People who do not keep to the rules of the social community are being punished by the laws of the Ekpo society. The same thing with the Ekpo society.
Okay.
People who err will be punished according to the law of that society. They take you to their deity, to their shrine, and they punish you.
Okay.
All right? That way you see people living morally right in those days. But there have been infiltration of all of this now.
Okay.
Because we have gone modernized, a lot has happened, evolution of all of this and all of that. You know, that has made it to look the way it is. In fact, even some of the masks in the Ekpo Masquerade too was a form to yap somebody. You know, they would say they look at your face like this masquerade.
Okay.
You know, it was a way to bring people together in the community in those days and make people live uprightly.
Okay, now if you look at the press release by the NUJ in Cross River State, they said the harassment was mainly on the females, even those that have recorded some sort of harassment here in Akwa Ibom State. The females suffer more. As a custodian, you have in-depth knowledge of this whole thing. Is it that before now, the women were not part of these festivities? Is that why they are being targeted?
Well, from my understanding, most of them, like the Ekpo Society, women were not initiates of the Ekpo Society.
Okay.
Now, in some parts of the Akwa Ibom and some communities, women are beginning to join the Ekpo Society. Really? The worry that I have is in the harassment of the women. The masqueraders see the women as weaker vessels.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say this, but that's the truth.
Okay.
They see them as weaker. When I pursue them, they're going to drop money, and they will fear and drop money on the floor. It shouldn't be so. I recall when I was young, my late mother would never see the face of Ekpo Masquerade because it was believed that once you are a woman and you see the face of Ekpo Masquerade, any child you give birth to would look like the Ekpo Masquerade. So back then, once my mother hears this Ekpo Masquerade drumming somewhere, she is 20,000 miles away from that. You know, but it doesn't happen this way. If you look at the Christmas Unplugged, women were dancing with Ekpo Masquerade, but those ones are just ceremonial.
Okay.
You know, but I will not approve or sit on this table with this conversation and say it is right for any Ekpo Masquerader to harass any woman. It shouldn't be so. Okay. It should not be so. Of course, we are in a festivity period. Everything we do should be ceremonial. It should be. It should be ceremonial. Everybody should be happy, taking photographs. The Ekpo Masquerade. If you take these photographs and go abroad, people want to buy them.
True.
Yes, people want to see masquerades. Just yesterday, you know, we had an event at the Christmas Unplugged event where on our local government, I saw white people come in there, take photographs with the Ekpo Masquerades that are there. For them, it's something they haven't seen before. So I wouldn't understand why that should happen. If it happens and it continues to happen, then such masquerade should be banned.
Okay, Mr. Ubong, How then do we harness the benefits of this Ekpo Masquerade? Because you also mentioned just now that the whites, you can even send the masquerade fairs abroad. So how do we harness the benefits of Ekpo Masquerade? Because even in those days, Ikorekpede, which is known as a raffia city, the whites to come in to purchase those items and take it abroad, and that boosts the economic, something of that local government area. How do we harness it and ensure that we tap from the benefits of the Ekpo Masquerade?
It's simple. It's for us to continue to market not the negative part of the Ekpo Masquerade, but the positive side of it. The Ekpo Masquerade for me is an art form. Okay. It is an art. It is it's something that it's a collection of art. It's supposed to be in the museum. All right. Now there are variations of Ekpo mask. The pretty face, the ugly face, the usual face, the one that is used to abuse people and all of that. If there are tourism potentials and cultural assets, we can make money from it. One of the dreams I have is to open a museum of African art history, where you're going to have this mask in their numbers, all right? People come, pay money, look at this art. They're not taking it away. Pay money, look at you, tell a story about this art. And in many ways, you're going to make money. Don't forget, many years ago, history has it that some of our art forms were stolen by the white.
Yeah.
And it was returned some few years ago. Of course, you know that the Benin mask was stolen. So if they could steal those things in those days, it means there's money to be made. We can announce those things now and make good money for it, but we must package it in a way that even the white men will appreciate it. We shouldn't make it look, too dark, to look like an evil thing. Okay. It is not evil.
Okay, so in your opinion, if I should ask, do you see this Ekpo tradition adapting to modernization and this changing dynamics in communities?
Of course, of course. That is where our traditional fathers also must come in. The modernity in the Ekpo mask or Ekpo Masquerade or Ekpo society itself, it's beginning to devalue the essence of the Ekpo Masquerade. All right. Now, there were seasons where Ekpo Masquerade was played, but I know that in some communities now, you see a young man carry Ekpo almost every day. In fact, it makes it look like that is his daily bread.
Yes.
It makes it look that that's what they do for a living. It shouldn't be so. There are seasons in which Ekpo comes out. It doesn't come out every day because it is supposed to be a spirit. Spirit don't come out every day.
Yeah.
All right. So we need to look at this and say we need to see our traditional fathers must come in.
Okay.
They have a role to play because they are the custodians of the culture. They are the custodians of the traditions of the people. So we must be able to synergize. We need to come to an agreement. How do we make this masquerade behave in the way they should behave? How do we make money from it? How do we still keep the societal values which it is supposed to protect? In doing so, we will get it right.
Okay, meaning the royal fathers have to come in to also protect the rights of the individual.
They should
not
come.
just on the side of the Ekpo, which is
the right of the individuals as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now that the police, like in Cross River State, banned the display of this masquerade, how will it affect the promotion of culture when it comes to?
Sincerely, it negatively. It's not going to promote the culture in the sense that it should, because only a few traditional displays you will now find. All right, I would have suggested that such group should register with the Nigerian police force.
Yeah,
originally, it shouldn't have been so. If they were true initiates, I keep using the word true initiates of the Ekpo society. An initiate of the Ekpo society will not be unlawful because he understands the penalties that are if he fails to do what it should do. But sad to think this has happened. It calls for concern for cultural aficionados like us to look inwardly and also talk with our local chiefs. How do we make sure that this does not happen again? In future, what do we do to forestall it from happening? It's not just about harassing women. It's not just about collecting money from people and all of that. It must not be seen to be a violent kind of display. Okay. All right? That mask, that machete you see there, It's not to commit violence. It's to scare people.
Not on the spot, but to scare you, like it's a constant reminder of things you should
You
and should
shouldn't
not
do.
Okay.
That if you do, this will cut you.
Okay.
If you do, you will look like this.
Okay. I have one very important question. Now, you made mention of the fact that these masquerades should be registered with the Nigerian police force. Do you think the royal fathers will be in agreement with that? Don't you think they will see it as a deviation from the original cultural heritage of this whole thing?
Yes, it's completely a deviation. But you know why I would suggest that registration is because the police currently, we are no longer using the Ekpo as the custodian of the law and order. It is Nigerian police that we are using. So that you don't deviate from the laws of the land, the Nigerian police force is there. But originally, it shouldn't. That's why I keep saying it shouldn't have been so.
Okay.
But because of the way these young men are behaving, I mean, when you register yourself with the police, anything happens, you'll be held responsible. You know, in doing so, you have some level of sanity.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that even the local fathers, the local chiefs themselves will be happy to hear that a masquerade left a particular community and caused mayhem on the road and people were killed.
Yeah.
You won't be happy. You won't be happy.
It's
a complete aberration from traditional rights. But I mean, we have to, if we must modernize certain things and make sure that our town is safe and secure for everybody, the police is there to do their job.
Like you said, this Ekpo Masquerade paraders, they are not ghosts. So this registration with the police is also going to protect them. Because there was some story some time back that one of them was knocked down by a vehicle and the driver sped off. So if it was actually registered with the police, I think the police would have made the traditional rulers would have made a report and that person fished out.
Correct.
Since it was...
Should they be going everywhere? They should be careful. They should be particular.
No, you can't say they should be going everywhere. You see, some of them, in the course of all of this, to also, they get themselves high on alcohol.
Okay.
And most of these things are, that's why I keep using a tree initiate. You see, the beauty of the Ekpo Masquerade or the Ekpo Masquerade is the rhythm they dance to. It's in the drum they dance to. Okay. It's not in the violence, all right? When they play those drums, the rhythm, those pulsating dance steps makes it beautiful for you to watch, makes it nice, all right? But when you begin to get, take something else that will make you dance more than the dance, you know,
faster than the beat.
Faster than the beat. It becomes a problem. You can't see an Ekpo initiate or Ekpo masquerader on the road has eyes. You can't see an oncoming vehicle and you want to go and jump into the vehicle. You will die. You will die. The car will knock you down. Okay. All right. But when you walk on your lane and do what you're supposed to do, nobody would want to. You know, I saw a comic video of Ekpo dying. And Ekpo Masquerade died, and the other Ekpos were coming to bury him, you know. Okay. So, but that's how it is.
A comedian recently made a video saying if you're looking for your husband, your brothers, that you should go to the village. In fact, you shouldn't be worried that they're actually in the village right now, you know, playing Ekpo.
Maybe displaying masquerades.
Right first, before I let you go, Mr. Obong, what I want to understand is, why is it that when these Ekpo masquerades are running, some children are pushing them and like saying, ooh, if I may use like cheering, and before you know it, they run away? What's the significance of that? Are they playing or something?
Yes, that is how tradition is passed on.
Okay.
That's how cultural values are passed on.
Oh.
When we were young, when you see an Ekpo masquerade passing, you begin to cheer. And in cheering Ekpo is
But they don't get angry when you do that.
No, they don't get angry.
So why
what they do is motivation.
Okay.
What they do, you see, Ekpo masquerade has drummers. The ones that walk around without drummers, they don't know what they are doing.
They have the drums in their head.
Because the Ekpo masquerade is supposed to dance to the rhythm of a drum.
Okay.
So when you see young people cheering them, it's a way of motivating them. At that point of motivation, they are supposed to dance. You are supposed to show some acrobatic display, you know, showing that you understand, you know what you are doing. Okay. That is the tradition that has passed on from many generations up to now. So when you see young children do that, they are also passing that tradition. Is that tradition going to be passed to the younger generation?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Obong, for coming around.
Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Expand on the conversation. We look forward to bring you some another time.
My pleasure.